My aim was to make something fairly simple and classic with contemporary flair. The cuffs and cock bead are borrowed from the Federal period, but I added splayed legs and an angle on the cuffs to introduce more contemporary elements. At first glance, the splayed legs would appear to complicate the construction of the table, but that's not the case. All of the joinery involves 90 degrees corners. The only time compound angles are introduced is when the legs are cut to length. Inside leg tapers. The first step in building the table is milling the material for the legs and aprons. On most tables with tapered legs, the starting point for the taper begins around / below the bottom of the apron. However, because the legs splay outward on this table, I chose to simply taper the entire leg on the two inside faces so that the lines of the table aren't interrupted. I used stock for the legs so I could effectively cut the leg blanks from rifts on wood. Depending on how the grain is flowing in your stock, you may have to cut the material on the diagonal or some angle in between to get true rifts on blanks. Having the grain flow in a straight line down each leg is important to the design. After laying out the leg on the ends of the stock, use a bandsaw to make the rough cuts. Be sure to leave each leg a little oversize. True up to adjacent faces with a jointer and thickness the blanks to 1/square. The legs start out at 1/ and taper on the two inside faces to /square at the foot. The taper can be cut many different ways. I chose to cut them on the table saw using a simple shop-made tapering jig. By using the table saw and a dedicated jig, I can ensure that the legs will be consistent. Now, with a miter saw set for a compound angle, 5 degrees bevel and 5 degrees miter, trim the top of the legs. The legs can be left about /long at this point. They'll be cut to final length after the cuffs are added. With the legs tapered, cut the mortise for the aprons. I joined the table with loose tenons, but integral tenons can also be used. If you elect to use integral tenons, be sure to add the tenon lengths to the aprons before cutting them to length.